About a month ago, I made a video called Reviewing Fan-Made Legends, Episode 1, and not that I forgot about the series, but it has about 350 comments, and I've received over 100 fan-made legends, either through email or Discord or the comment section of that video, or the comment sections of other videos too, because people posted them all over the place. And so I've been going through all of these legends for a pretty long time now, and I finally found 3 that I think are at least very interesting to talk about. A lot of these legends that I received had problems with their ultimates, where their ultimates could literally change the course of the game because they were just that overpowered. Because a lot of the abilities in Apex Legends are centered around how it can benefit the team or to turn a fight in a way that is fairly subtle. Like, Wraith's Portal allows you to move your team somewhere else, but some of these were literally like Soldier 76 gets auto-aim and kills the entire team with 1 magazine. And so I didn't think that would really make for good content. So instead, I went through the comment sections and everywhere else, and I found 3 that I really enjoyed. I think they would be very fun legends, and I'm going to rate them today. We're going to talk about how they're good and how they're bad, and none of these came with graphics. So I made some pretty goofy looking graphics on my own. I'm not an artist by any means, so don't judge me too harshly on them. I just wanted something fun for you to look at while the video was going on. So the first one's name is Fuse, just like the Rainbow Six Siege operator, who's also named Fuse. I believe he's spelled with a Z though. Correct me if I'm wrong, which I know you will, but I thought it was with a Z. He's described as an explosive Excelsior, a grumpy tinkerer that can turn the tides of the fight with his incendiary expertise. Now, his passive is called Re-Engineering, and it takes 50% of ordnance damage dealt to you and turns it into shield. Now, I think this is a really interesting passive because it's kind of similar to the Vampire Bite hop-up that I talked about in my hop-ups video. Just think it's a very cool dynamic to have, even though it does encourage grenade spam a little bit. His tactical is called Meteor Rounds, which allows you to reload your current weapon with incendiary rounds. The tactical deals 2 damage per second, for 3 seconds. The damage ignores shields, and hitting an enemy with those bullets resets the tactical's duration. The cooldown's 30 seconds, and now I would change this in a couple ways to make it a little bit more balanced. If you added a 45-second cooldown instead of 30 seconds, that way you really would never be able to use this more than once in a fight. I also think that it should definitely use your bullets up, and I think it should actually double the amount of bullets that you're using, because if you're getting an almost thermite round kind of end product out of these bullets, you need to be paying for that in some way. So I think it should take up twice the amount of bullets, because if you think about this, on certain guns it would be really overpowered. Like, take the R99 for example, where if you were to use thermite rounds with that and you had that tick damage afterwards, even if you hit half the magazine, you could probably still kill the person. In order to deter people from spamming this, you should use double the amount of ammo. And for his ultimate, which is called Overheat, Fuse ignites himself and moves 50% faster. After 3 seconds, he explodes in a large radius, and damage is applied to everyone within that radius. He takes 50% of the explosive's damage as well. In his detonation state, he takes 30% less damage, and downing him will trigger the explosion immediately. The thing that I don't like about this is how complicated it is. I actually really like the idea of this, having him be more of an up-close and personal legend who has this almost like personal EMP on him that deals damage. I really do like that, but just the amount of numbers really confuses me. So I do like that he moves double speed, as that will allow him to get further into the enemy's space. And 3 seconds is a little bit slow to me. I would say 5 seconds seems fair, especially since if he gets downed, the explosion is triggered. I don't think it's necessary that he takes that damage reduction. I think that if he's going to go in there and deal a lot of damage, he should still be bearing the brunt of a lot of those attacks. With a little bit of tinkering here and there with abilities and balancing them with weapons and how much damage these abilities do, I think this could actually be a really fun legend to play, and would add a second legend who's very offensive and can deal a lot of up-close damage like Wraith does. Moving on though, let's talk about a really interesting legend idea. Now, I don't know if it's just that I really like the story of this legend and the creativity of their abilities, but something about it I really, really enjoyed reading. So this is a legend called Seeker, and now it says, Seeker is a light shifter, full name Wade Xavier, who is an athletic native of the frontier, developing an ability to harvest light from mainly living things, having stayed in the same home for 20 years since he was a child, with no mother to raise him or siblings, and having his father being his wingman his whole life. He thinks of having a chance in the Apex games after hearing it from a friend. Let's get into these abilities though. His passive is called Light Hitter. His hands glow brighter the more eliminations he earns. His melee damage increases by 10 damage per kill, maxing out at 3 kills. Now, personally, it's not that I find his passive useless. I just think that it's very situational. It's still better than Mirage's passive, but I think it could definitely use some tweaking here and there. I'm not sure exactly what I would do with it. If you guys want to give some ideas down in the comments below, I'd really appreciate that, and let's continue this conversation down there. Let's look at his tactical, which is called Lantern of the Vivid Light. A throwable ability that bursts open on impact and blinds enemies for 5 seconds when in the direction of the lantern. Lantern light stays for 10 seconds and is a good escape tool in the right scenarios, as a 30-second cooldown. This is very reminiscent of Ying's ability in Rainbow Six Siege, and I know I brought this up for the last legend as well. She basically has this flash bomb that she can throw, and it has 3 bright lights that go off and flash bangs everyone in the area, which also deafens them for a brief amount of time. So I actually like this quite a bit. I talked about in my previous video how I'm really opposed to pop-ups or abilities slowing down legends unless it's in a very specific scenario. Really, the main functionality of Crypto's EMP is that it stuns people, and the same thing with the Arc Star. So I'm okay with those. But the fact that this just goes for blinding them for a couple seconds, I really like, especially because we don't have a smoke grenade or a flashbang in the game. Obviously, Bangalore has her smokes as her tactical, but we don't have anything like that. So I do think this is a great team-based tactical and also a self-based tactical to either get yourself or your squad out of scenarios or to push somebody if they're camping in a building. His ultimate is called Pulse Mask, a mask that Seeker equips to see the light. When used, the mask pulses nearby hostiles for 1.5 seconds when the player is faced towards the enemy, even through walls. The mask is equipped for 25 seconds and takes 2 minutes and 45 seconds to recharge. Pulse pings also show for squad mates. A lot of people underneath this were responding saying that it would make Crypto and Bloodhound useless if that were his ultimate ability, but I don't think so at all, because we don't have any legends right now whose ultimates actually provide any scouting insight for the team. Obviously, Bloodhound's tactical does this a little bit, as well as Crypto's passive, but this would be the first legend who would be able to use their ultimate ability to actually find out information for the whole squad. So I actually do like this quite a bit. Seeker would also have no perk, so he wouldn't be low profile and he wouldn't be fortified, and his heirloom would be a baseball bat made of steel. So a lot of great creativity in this, Mustard Man. You did a fantastic job really like painting the picture with this legend. I really appreciate the comment a lot, and everybody who commented on this who I didn't showcase, I really appreciate you guys also taking out the time to share your ideas and your creativity with the whole channel. So thank you all so much for that. But let's get into our last legend here. And this is a legend named Vanguard, who is a weapons specialist. As part of the Frontier Militia fighting against the IMC, Nicholas Finley only wanted to protect his family, his resourcefulness and cunning being key aspect in his survival. He uses his own inventions to gain an edge on the battlefield, and he sees the Apex games as a way to start a new life after winning. His passive is called Gun Nut. Vanguard is able to carry 3 guns, and he gains an extra inventory slot dedicated to ordnance, but at the cost of a slower movement speed. Right off the bat, I really do like the idea of a legend being able to carry an extra weapon. I think that this could have great team implications as well. If you have somebody on your team who really likes sniping, but you're in a more closed area or you don't know where the circle is going to end up, you could just kind of throw that on him. But I do think that the 3rd slot should only be available for sidearms. And I do count the Mozambique in that, even though it's considered a shotgun. So I think he should be able to hold in that third slot an RE45, a P2020, a Wingman, or a Mozambique. That way it's not that overpowered. Like if you were carrying 3 R99s, that would be a huge bruh moment if you pulled up to a fight against him. His tactical is called Out of the Fight. Vanguard launches a small mechanical jamming device and disables the held weapon of a single target for 10 seconds with a cooldown of 30 seconds. So a lot of people were complaining that this was overpowered down below, and so I suggest 2 things that would make this a lot more balanced. One, I think it should function kind of like a Pathfinder grapple that you have to hit them dead on with. So you like shoot it out of your arm and you have to make contact with them, otherwise it doesn't count. Now obviously if you don't hit them with it, the grapple just kind of comes back into your arm and you can shoot it again. And they should still be able to switch weapons and use their second weapon. There are a lot of scenarios I could see where this could be very useful. If you're getting down to the end circles and you're pushing in and someone comes at you with like a Mastiff, or they come at you with the Devotion, and you real quick hit them with it, you could save your whole squad's life if you have the accuracy and precision to actually hit them with this jamming device. So I do really like that ability a lot. And the last one is called Seismic Disruption. Vanguard slams his fists into the ground, causing a shockwave that knocks enemies away from him in all directions and deals a small amount of damage. It has a cooldown of 210 seconds. Right off the bat, I would buff that, bring that up to 150 seconds, because 3.5 minutes is incredibly long. That would be pretty high up there with some of the longest in the game. And this basically functions like Reinhardt's ultimate in Overwatch, where he hits the ground with his hammer and everybody is knocked to the ground and kind of stunned for a second, dealing only a small amount of damage. And the idea behind this would be, it would give your other teammates the ability to clean up these people. This should 100% break down doors and stun the people on the inside of the door if they're standing in front of it, because that would just add so much more functionality. And I think it should also break caustic traps and Watson fences if they're on the other side of the door. Because that wouldn't make Vanguard a must pick, but it would give them a lot of functionality, even in higher levels of play, because they'd be able to push buildings that have been trapped up. So guys, this video did run on quite a while. If you've stayed on board, thank you so much. You get 2 gold stars. What? This is definitely the longest video on my channel, 100%. So thank you so much for sticking with me if you're still here. If you aren't already, please consider subscribing, as I do post every single day. And check out the merch down below. That's the best way to support me in the channel. But that's all I have for you guys for right now. If you have any legends that you'd like to see featured in a future video, please let me know down below in the comments, and I will read all of them, I promise. But that's going to be it for right now. So until next time, guys, take it easy.